people. You've got to be aware. Like Paul was talking about making connections and new friends and new battle buddies. And Soldier Hard shared his message of the, I forget the name of it.
See the light.
And he's got a pledge. He says.
Spartan Pledge.
Spartan Pledge. And that is simply saying, before you take your life, please reach out to somebody in your network. And Keith may or may not have done that, but he did take his life. And super ugly morning, super ugly start to the morning. 3 small children, Glenn. And
wow.
One of the questions that was put forth to AVET Project, and I didn't know the answer. Folks, there is so much, as Glenn always says, the if, and, or but world of VA and DOD. It's all the same. Title 10, Title 32, Title 38, it's all there in the statutes. But it's a sea, it's an ocean of information.
Yeah, and you're right. It's the if, and, or but world of VA, because you can't, anywhere I know of, in, for instance, 38 Code of Federal Regulations, which is kind of the guide for benefit information and how the VA is supposed to treat claims and look at and what they will disregard and so forth, you just can't read a paragraph without it referring you to another paragraph, which will refer you to another paragraph. So that's why I call it the if, and, or but world of VA benefits. And I'm not, of course, talking on the medical side. Paul made a great observation there. Delay after delay after delay, funnel you off to do more paperwork, and you're not, what's the bottom line there to me? You're not getting any treatment that you need, and you're not getting it in a timely fashion, which, depending on what the particular problem is, can make it worse.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Every time, just showing up there, long waits, sometimes wouldn't even get a call back, and then months later find out, oh, well, you had an appointment. Like, nobody would tell me. It was just, it seemed like it just worked against you in every avenue you went through.
And you said something that was key, and that's what I said was a perfect segue. The hopelessness. I mean, you're putting yourself into that big machine, like you mentioned, the VA, that has one mission, Glenn, putting veterans first. Well, dudes, that is your mission.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it lately in a lot of places, too many places. I won't go into all the details, but Phoenix, which was the one that started all this congressional involvement in the VA, covering up the facts of how long it took to help veterans, and just outright lying on treatment times and all of that. Well, now one of their doctors turned in many of the triage nurses saying, A, they didn't know what they were doing, and B, they were letting people lie over there who should have been triaged and already treated in the emergency room, and so forth and so on. And this is a place that's had the focus of Congress on it. The VA got extra focus on it, as I'm sure you might have read in the past months. And this was the place that started it all, and it's not fixed. So
yeah, I mean, it's a tragedy, and it's an ongoing tragedy, because these are lives. These are war fighters, and their families are affected. We keep coming back to that. It's not just the war fighter alone, which means that it's out in society as well, right, Glenn?
Oh, absolutely. And folks, why are we sitting here talking about all this in a free and open manner? Because of our warriors, because they've helped keep us free. We're not speaking German, we're not speaking Farsi or any of the other foreign languages, because this is America. They keep America free. They made America free, and they keep America free. So, it just gets me going when we're not taking care of them. So when you wake up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee or whatever you do first thing in the morning, and you're free and an American, thank our veterans.
And I want-
Don't treat them like they're getting treated.
Exactly. We've got to do more as a nation, as a society, because without our warfighters, without our, as we always say, past and present military members and their families, I got to always throw that in there. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't have any of the freedoms that we have, Glenn. And that just brings to mind that question that was proffered to us about, well, he committed suicide. Am I going to enjoy any of the benefits? And I've been scrambling through all these awesome papers that I pulled up about different insurance things and myths and what have you. Well, for whatever reason, it's missing. But I will tell you this straight up. Investigated it, and suicide does not preclude payment of any of these insurance programs. Now, that's to say on the insurance program. Regarding VA benefits, such as DIC, and what's that, Glenn?
That's dependents indemnity compensation, and suicide could be a block to that if there's, to my knowledge, if there's no record in the service members' treatment records that they had suicidal ideation, and
Or we're being treated for any neuropsychiatric disorder, whether it's depression, anxiety.
exactly.
So
And
it's a LOD. What's that?
line of duty determination. So if in the case that Garen was talking about earlier, if they run a line of duty determination and determine that that soldier's suicide was not in the line of duty, I don't know, an example I guess would be the person was on drugs and that was what led to the suicide, or that's what the line of duty investigation comes up with, then DIC most likely is not going to be paid to the family, and that's just for a surviving spouse, around $1,300 tax free a month, and then there's extra money for all the minor children there are.
Exactly. So I want to get this in there about the TSGLI. And Paul, did you pay into the TSGLI, the Traumatic Service Members Group Life Insurance, when you were in? It's like $1 a month.
I believe I did.
Well,
I couldn't say yay or nay on that for sure, though.
I want to just get this out there.
Well, let me just
Go
jump in real quick.
Yeah.
That's probably one of those papers that you sign on active duty. You don't really know what the heck you're signing, but
Signed a lot of those.
yeah. But the commander or first sergeant or somebody hears this sign.
Exactly.
It's
Well,
good for you.
The VA defines a traumatic event as the application of an external force, violence, chemical, biological, or radiological weapons, accidental ingestion of a contaminated substance, or exposure to the elements that causes physical damage to the body. A traumatic injury is defined as physical damage to the body that results from a traumatic event. Just for your curiosity, but you can go to avetproject.org, check out the Facebook page. A lot of this information is going to be posted up there, so you can learn about it and share it with others. We got a whole other segment, and you're all going to be excited to listen to Soldier Heart in his segment, Light Up the Darkness, after the break. So don't go anywhere, because American Warrior Radio is going to be right back on the big AM 1060 WMEL, 50,000 watts of power.